you must always upgrade your standard. The standards not only hold for yourself, not only the standards that you have for the people that you hang around and associate yourself with, the standard of where you go, what you eat, how you carry yourself, what you do on a daily basis. All these standards are a reflection of the life that you currently have. I want you guys to really think about what it is that your standards are, whether you have high quality standards or low quality standards, and just kind of get a thought process of like, what am I eating on a daily basis? Where do I go on a daily basis? Who do I hang around on a daily basis? And to ask yourself, if I were to invest in these things, circumstances, and opportunities, how would that benefit me? And when you realize that some of these things don't benefit you, you realize that you have really low standards. And what I mean by this is, in my experience, when I spent money on me, whether it was an experience, an opportunity, my clothes, whatever it was, not only did I feel better, I felt more confident, I had more belief in myself that I could go out and do more. And what comes with doing more? More money. And when you tend to shift your standards in a way that are not only benefiting yourself, but you becoming that standard, you're also benefiting others, it's a win-win situation for both parties. And what I've come to realize is that the reason why I've been able to meet so many people in my industry is not so much about me having money or me doing this or me doing that. It's really more of just me having not only the great standards that I have, but me also having great character, and me knowing how to communicate, me knowing how to articulate myself, and me just being able to convey a message in a short, concise manner, and just really being curious and interested in other people. And that's one of the things that I learned from How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. In the chapter, it said, it was like talking about building rapport, and it was like, be interested in the other, be interested, not interesting. And when I thought about that, I was like, you know what? It kind of makes sense, because even in my experience, and you guys can probably think about an experience like this too, is like, when you are constantly talking about yourself, you feel good about yourself. Like, oh, I did this, oh, I did that, oh, I did this, oh, I did that, look at me, look at me, look at me. Now, obviously, those can be good in certain times, circumstances, and situations. But when you're trying to get to know someone, make it all about them. Oh, why did you do this? What made you think about doing this? What was your thought process behind making this decision? Or what kind of experiences led you down this path? Or whatever the case may be. Get deeper. Don't be so shallow. Get deeper. And when you start to ask people these questions, you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. They have to think about this. They have to think about what it is that they're going to say next. And when they have to think about what they're going to say next, that's how you become more of a seed in their mind. Like, hey, I remember this guy. He was talking to me about X, Y, and Z, and we had a really good conversation, and he was really interested about what I had to talk about, and he was asking me questions, and he was super just engaged in the conversation. And when you understand that part about people, and you understand like human psychology, how human works, and so on and so forth, it's like you really have the world in your hand. And the standard I hold myself to when it comes to communication is like, I make sure I have a meaningful first impression, whether that may be based on what I'm wearing, maybe it's based on my approach statement or how I approach them, or it may be the questions that I ask, or it just may be I get introduced to someone by somebody else, a reference. So when it comes to stuff like this, I always make sure my standard is that I always ask them questions. I don't make it so much about me. I make it about them. And what I've tend to realize is that I get a lot more connections, and I have a lot more meaningful impressions, in that I can literally call this person at any given moment and be like, hey, like, I remember seeing you at X, Y, and Z event. Like, it's good to see you. How are things been? And then as we continue to build rapport, like, I can easily be like, hey, can you reference me to such and such and such and such? Because they see like I'm really engaged in what it is that I'm talking about, and I really care about my craft, and I really care about the industry and what I'm doing. So it's like they'll be willing to take a bet on me. Like, hey, I know this kid is a good kid. I know he's good. Like, Let me make sure I can do what I can. Let me see what I can do for him so that I can help him win too. And the thing that you must realize too is that all people that are successful want to have their own like little prodigy in a way. Like, yeah, I was able to make him and mold him into who he was today, or I help him do this, I help him do that. So when you have that in the back of your head too, it's like, all right, well, I know I gotta not only keep my reputation good, but also I gotta make sure I put the work in on my back end, because these people are dependent on me and they're relying on me and they're trying to help me win. So I gotta make sure I give them that favor back in return. And as you kind of start to understand this shit over time, it gets to a point where you have to have high standards. You have to hold yourself in a high regard, because if you don't, you're not going to be allowed to go in these certain rooms, because the shit that you talk about and the shit that they talk about is two totally different conversations. And how do you upgrade your standard? It's just always stretching for more and more and more. In my circumstance, it was me spending more money. I'm going to be honest. But the reason why I spent more money is because I knew who I was becoming, and I knew that the path was illuminated as I walked it. So the more money I spent on me and me getting better, I knew I was going to make more money, and that's what inevitably happened. So when I had that in the back of my head, like, I always knew I was going to do monumental things. I always knew I was going to do big things. I always knew I was going to be in this industry since I was 18 and doing real estate since I was 18. So once I honed in on my craft, I knew I was going to make money. So the more I spent money on an expensive gym membership, I spent money on designer clothes and designer shit. I spent money on going first class to certain places and flying first class. I spent money on going to the 5-star hotels and the 5-star restaurants and all type of shit. Why? Because not only the people I can meet in those environments, but I knew I deserved it. I put the work in on me so that I know how to communicate. I'm working on my craft. So these are kind of like some of the rewards that I give myself because of the work that I put in. And I think another thing too is that on your come up, you should also reward yourself. There was a point in time in my journey where I was working so hard. I was like, bro, what the fuck am I working so hard for? This shit's not even fun. So then when I had that realization, I was like, all right, let me go spend some money on myself. And then me spending money on my like wardrobe, I knew like the highest version of me will wear this shit anyway. So I already know they'll have the money to buy this shit anyway. So I'm gonna just buy it now. And yeah, it was a little nerve wracking. Like the first designer thing I bought was some Alexander McQueen's. I still have them to this day. I spent $650 on them. Mind you, that was the largest purchase I ever spent in my life. And I was 18 at the time. I think I might have just turned 19 maybe. Yeah, I might have just turned 19. That was like my gift to me by getting my first internship. And honestly, from that experience alone, like the shoes made me feel better. I felt cleaner then I had to upgrade my wardrobe. I had to force, like, I'm not finna wear no Alexander McQueen's with some bummy ass fit. No, like I had to upgrade everything. And once I kind of upgraded my lifestyle to a certain degree, yeah, it came with more work, but it came with a better version of me and someone that felt really good in his own skin and not really needing external validation. But it's not so much about what you wear, it's just how you feel when you conduct yourself out in public, you know? Like, obviously, girls wear makeup because they want to look good, and guys wear cologne and wear nice clothes to look appealing to the opposite sex. So it's like we're all doing this shit at the same time for each other. So it's like you can apply these in different realms and different areas too, like business or whatever the case may be. All this shit applies in every endeavor. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you don't come to realize this, you'll realize that some things that you're good at, you may not apply those certain habits in other areas of your life, and those areas of your life are where you lack in. And it's up to you to realize that. A lot of people don't realize that and come to that self-realization, like, hey, I know I'm fucking off in this area. Let me pick it up. And sometimes I've had my moments too. Like, I would go hard in the gym, I go hard on business, but in other endeavors, like, let's say if it's spending time with family, I didn't really spend a lot of time with family because I was so focused on becoming a better me that the person that they knew me as versus who I was becoming was two totally different people. So a lot of the time they would kind of remind me of the old me and not the new me, and they wouldn't recognize me as a new me, and they would recognize me as the old me. So there was a lot of confliction with that, but you know, over time they've started to adjust just because I stopped giving a fuck about how they thought or perceived me as, and I just had to separate myself, you know. And you have to do what you have to do. That's just what I had to do. Hopefully you guys don't have to do that, but if you do, just do it. Being in solitude was probably one of the greatest things that ever happened to me, because I was able to not only know who, like, actually understand who I am, what I like, what I don't like, what my standards are, and live through my truth. I didn't have to live through somebody else's truth or somebody else's standards or live a life somebody else gave me. I wrote the fucking blueprint for myself. And that's what you guys should do too. Write the list of standards that you hold yourself to. I don't eat, the only fast food that I really eat is Chipotle and Chick-fil-A. That's it. Everything else is nice restaurants, wine and dining. I haven't ate McDonald's in fucking years. That's just a fucking standard. I'm not eating that shit. Or another standard, I'm not flying in no regular ass plane seat. If it's not extended legroom or first class, I'm not fucking going. Rental cars, I'm not driving no fucking Toyota piece of shit. I'm not driving none of that shit. If it's not a luxury car, I don't want to be in it. Clothes wise, if it's not like something nice, like linen or like some cloth or whatever it is, I'm not wearing that shit. Even though I do keep the wardrobe simple, I'm not wearing no fucking Nike Tech fleece. Like, I'm not wearing that shit. Although I have wore them in the past, but I'm not wearing that shit now. So it gets to a point where, like, the way you carry yourself is a reflection of your standards. Now, I'm not knocking Nike Techs. I'm not knocking none of that shit. But the rooms that I am in, they're not wearing Nike Techs. They wearing motherfucking Rolexes and shit. APs and Richard Milles and Pateks and wearing $5,000 suits and all type of shit. So just thinking about that in the back of my head, like, what, and this is a question that you guys should ask yourself. The highest version of me, what would you do in this situation? Like, let's say if you're about to make a large purchase, and ask yourself, would the highest version of me even trip about spending this money? If not, spend it. Just spend it. Or if it's like, oh, would the highest version of me talk to people like this or talk to girls like this? If it's yes, do it right then and there. Because once you start to have this shift, you'll start to tell yourself, like, yeah, I'm deserving of this. I'm worthy of this. And once you start to realize that, that just becomes a standard and that becomes normal. Anything below that, you won't tolerate. So when you realize, like, is the highest version of me doing this right now? And if you ask yourself, is the highest version of me doing this? And it's no, then stop, eliminate it right then and there. And once you start to have these self-actualizations, like self-realizations, like, life is it actually becomes a lot easier. Because now you have clarity behind what it is that you're doing. You're not just doing a bunch of bullshit just to be doing bullshit. You're very intentional and direct with what it is that you're trying to do. So once you have that clarity, everything else in life is easier, and you'll start attracting everything you want in this life in any way, shape, or form. Whether it's opportunities, people, circumstances, whatever it is, you will have it. That's it for today's video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you.